Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The SNP Green Alliance that is allegedly running Scotland has had to make a humiliating and embarrassing climb down over one of its awful policies. This time, it's the HPMA, the Highly Protected Marine Areas Act. They had plucked a number out of the air. Let's say they said 10%. There's no reason why it was that much. It was just a nice round figure for them. And they said we'll apply 10% of Scottish coastline to this Highly Protected Marine Area Act. Now, they had no particular scientific reason for 10%, and they had no particular scientific reason which areas they were going to take. They were just going to randomly assign them based on what they could get away with without too much local rejection. Unfortunately, every single area rejected it. They knew they weren't going to be able to get it through, and so they've had to climb down and abandon the plan. Oh dear, what a shame. Yet another policy failed because of the lack of intelligence and planning by the morons in the Greens and the SNP. We'll take a look at this story, see why they're climbing down and why it's so embarrassing for them. And there's a lovely picture of a woman, Mary McAllen, and she's got a right sourpuss on, so it's worth seeing it just for that. Here goes. Right, so SNP are forced to axe plans for hated fishing ban proposals in a crushing blow for the Scottish Greens. And anything that defeats the Greens, in my view, is a good thing. They just pick these arbitrary numbers and random, and they get, it's because, it sounds good, a little sound bite. We need a victory. We need to do something. We need to show the world that we exist. And so they do stupid things like this. And then, of course, they lose. And then they get all mopey and sad about it. As you'll see when I put it, you can see her face now. So the Scottish Government's Net Zero Secretary, Mary McAllen, here she is, confirmed at Holyrood that they would no longer be going forward with proposals to outlaw commercial activities in 10% of Scottish waters. And the face on that tells you it all. Look, there's someone who isn't getting her lollipop today. Oh, what a sour, sour face. The face of defeat. Lovely to behold, isn't it? The Scottish Government has announced that it will be scrapping its hated fishing ban proposals following fury from coastal communities and islanders. Instead, they'll be heading back to the drawing board in a crushing blow to the Scottish Greens. And there's a line I love reading. Known as highly protected marine areas, they were spearheaded due to the Butte House Agreement, but received negative feedback from fishermen who called it a new Highland clearances. Plans were outlined to outlaw commercial activity in 10% of Scottish waters. Like I say, it's an arbitrary figure, 10%, and they couldn't say where, they couldn't say what zone, they couldn't give a reason why. It's not as though, you say, right, we want to ban fishing in this particular area because it's a spawning ground, for example, and that by not fishing there for a year will rebalance stocks, and it'll increase stocks for later and so forth. It'll make it sustainable. But we must do it in this area because they didn't have that. They couldn't go, there is a very good reason for this particular area. They were going, we just need 10%. Well, where? Oh, well, we don't know. It's wherever we get the least resistance. And the trouble is, they got resistance in every single area. Every single area rejected it. Every islander rejected it. To a man and woman, it was 100% rejected. Because it's such an appallingly bad idea. Anyway, but Net Zero and Just Transition Secretary, Mary McAllen, was accused of just rebranding the policy and pushing forward with it regardless of the feelings of those consulted. The government was inundated with more than 4,000 responses to its controversial consultation, and you can guarantee that all 4,000 were saying no, and they were rejecting it. Miss McAllen made a ministerial statement at Holyrood where she said, "We chose to consult as early and widely as possible on the principles of HPMAs with no predetermined sites," because you couldn't pick a site, could you? She said it's always been and continues to be this government's plan to work cooperatively with communities to identify how and where to enhance marine protection in a way that minimises impact and maximises opportunity. You can't. Scotland's fishermen have already been decimated beyond belief. And you're talking now of taking a further 10% out. It's unbelievable. Do you think anyone is going to vote for that? It's like turkeys voting for Christmas. Nobody is going to support that. Nobody in the communities that rely on it is going to support it. It's absolutely bonkers. And it does no good anyway. Not while you're allowing the big factory trawlers like that from the Spanish and the Dutch and whatever to mop everything up out of the North Sea. What the hell are the Spanish doing up there? Tell the Spanish to fish off the Med or fish in the North Atlantic, off their own waters. Keep them out. They shouldn't be here. It's our waters. Anyway, and if you did that, that would be the best thing for the North Sea for conservation, banning all foreigners in our waters. Anyway, she continued. Therefore, while we remain firmly committed to the outcome of enhanced marine protection, the proposal as consulted on will not be progressed. I will outline more on our next steps after the summer recess, but I hope that it is clear I am determined to protect our oceans in a way that is fair and to find a way forward that ensures our seas remain a source of prosperity for the nation, especially in our remote coastal and island communities. Well, not taking away all their jobs would be a good start. Banning foreign trawlers would be a brilliant start. And getting the Greens out of government to let them stop destroying everything would be the best thing of all. Anyway, the Scottish Tories, they claimed that this was not actually the policy being scrapped, but rebranded to come back under a different name. This is because the 10% target for marine areas still remained despite the criticism. Because they haven't got anything else, the Greens. They can't get anything through. Everything they try fails. But they've got to keep trying it time and time and time again because they can't come up with new, fresh ideas. And every idea they do have is an automatic fail because people reject it. Normal people look at it and go, no way, we're not doing that, Anyway, Rural Affairs spokeswoman Rachel Hamilton said, the SNP might have rebranded their reckless plans on highly protected marine areas. But in reality, this amounts to little more than kicking the can down the road. It is. That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, well, we've lost this battle. What we'll do is we'll just put it on the shelf, give it 6 months, we'll come back, we'll call it something else, and we'll change a couple of the details, and then we'll pretend it's a brand new idea. And we'll spin it slightly differently. A load of old crap, isn't it? Anyway, she said, and this is Rachel saying, never have I experienced a policy that has received such overwhelming opposition from coastal communities, and Scotland's fishermen must now be at the heart of any proposals brought forward. Rejected. 100% rejected. It was fantastic. She said, as much as the SNP try to spin this, ministers still remain wedded to enhancing marine protection in a further 10% of our seas, just a few years later than their initial plans outlined. Well, hopefully they won't be in a position to push it after the next election. SNP Green ministers have caused huge stress in recent months in our coastal communities, and that must never happen again. While these statements give them some breathing space, we need to see those who will be affected dictate these new plans. The fact that the Greens have welcomed this move suggests it will be their anti-fishing tune that the SNP will be dancing to. And she's right. It's just another example of a Green plan that's failed because it's utterly mindless. Pointless, mindless. It won't work. It does nothing, and it's going to fail because everybody has rejected it and will continue to reject it. Doesn't matter how many times they try to bring it in. And so, little loser like Mary McCallan will have to sit there with glum face on for a lot longer, I think. Anyway, I'm going to round off and come up, and it's such. I'm just going to leave that there for just 1 second because I just want everyone to enjoy the pain. Right, coming up. It's almost becoming embarrassing to say that you support the Greens. Every idea they have is utterly stupid because they ultimately are very stupid. They can't read the room. They don't understand the consequences of their actions. They can say, oh, look at us, we save all these fishes. No, look at you, destroying all these jobs, putting all these families into poverty, making misery for millions with stupid ideas without any scientific basis whatsoever. You make wild, outrageous claims based on your own drunken, escapades, I suppose. You'll sit around goggling gin all night going, what if we tell them this and what if we tell them that? But you can't show any proof for what you're claiming because there is none. There's no evidence that what you're proposing with these HPMAs does any good whatsoever. So you're just doing it because you need to have a win. You need to have a policy that you can look back and go, I did that. Meanwhile, looking at all those people thrown into the scrap heap. That's what you did. Never mind the fish. Look at the people. Anyway, nice to see that people are rejecting this idea and rejecting them, the Greens. Makes sense. But then I think, I've said this before, and I do think it's something that needs to be borne in mind. Anyone on a list, any of the list MSPs, need to be barred from ministerial positions. You can only have a ministerial position if you have a constituency. I think that would be a move in the right direction. It would help keep extremists like this out of power. Anyway, I shall finish there. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please do hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and just go fishing. Bye.